Good morning and happy Tuesday 10 at 10. I am your host and bakery influencer, Richard Charpentier. And every Tuesday, we gather to answer your questions sent from the bakers, answered by yours truly, certified master baker. So for those of you, as you can see, I'm wearing a Johnny Cupcake special edition shirt from the last ASB last week in Chicago. Was great to see a lot of great friends and a lot of people from the industry I'd not seen for years. So for those who've never attended, it's a great event to not to miss for next year. So it's every year. So it's a little promotion, resiliency in the bakery industry. So let's get started with our first question today. Someone is asking about biscuits and say, I have a loss of thickness in my biscuit. What could be the reason? So, without knowing where to start, there's many things that could be the reason. One is, did your flour change? Did your formulation change? Did the setup on your line with the thickness of the rolls not change? What's the falling number of your flour, the specs and everything? That's where I would start. It's very difficult to know whether or not it's a human error, it's a processing error, it's a change of ingredients, or so many things that for me to start guessing, I would love to help and point you in the right direction. But if you really need further help, I recommend you go to Bakerpedia on Baker Resources, and you can find a consultant where we can get on a call with you for an hour and discuss the issue and see how we can pinpoint how the issue could be happening. Because I do agree, if you have the same product, the only thing that will not be the same thickness, as I pointed out to the obvious, if you're using a leavening or yeast to get some volume, I would go back there. And why? As long as your weight is the same, but you see the volume is less, it's about going backward and trying to understand of why is the issue of why am I losing volume. So excellent question. Now for a second question, someone wants to know what do commercial bakeries use to get those shiny hamburger buns and we see in fast food restaurants? So what they use is they use what we call an egg wash or a glaze. So the typical egg wash is basically, as the name says, eggs that are liquefied. Sometimes people will put a little salt, a little sugar to make sure it's easy enough, and egg wash them to get that nice shine that you're referring to. If that doesn't work, there's a lot of other things that can be done, where you can go to your ingredient vendors where they sell ready to use glaze or shines, that you put it a certain ratio of the concentrate with water and apply it on your bun to give you that nice shiny look. And a lot of them are not made with eggs, so it's about vegetable protein or other ingredients that could work for you. So you can either do it yourself. That means it's going to be some trial and error. You're going to need some protein source and a way to create caramelization on the top and maybe some sugar. If not, ask your local ingredient vendors to see if they have any solutions for you that would work to give you that nice shiny look you're looking for. So that's my recommendation. So good luck with your search. Now on the next question, we have someone wants to add gelatinized starch, and they're trying to say, would a starch with higher in amylose or higher in amylopectin be better for slowing staling? Well, that's an excellent question. Starches is, as we know, staling is a big problem in bakeries, where if your bread is too dry, too stale, then, you have to throw it away. And it contributes to a lot of the waste we see in bakeries today. So what starch would work better? A pre-gelatinized starch, as it says, it's been pre-gelatinized, so therefore it will help with your viscosity. And in terms of whether or not it's going to help you with your shelf life, has also a lot to do with the type of formulation are you running. Are you running a lean dough? Are you ready? You have sugar. What are the other ingredients that could slow down staling? Overall, the first one to stale the fastest is the amylopectin. Amylopectin, if you look in a regular wheat flour, a flour is about 20 to 30% amylose, and the rest is amylopectin. That's why when you see with the waxy starches, it's basically a high level of amylopectin. So generally speaking, the amylose gives you the gel strength, and the amylopectin is what will give you the viscosity. So both starch, the high amylose starches, is mostly what you see in wheat, rice, corn, will give you the better gelling properties. And the starches like the waxy starch will give you a higher viscosity. So it's how the water gets in, how you properly hydrate the starches, and how the temperature also, if you get into staling, temperature is also, staling is affected by temperature, the environment, and type of packaging. So it's more complex than just focusing on the starch. There's other parameter or other factors that will also affect the shelf life of your product. So if you have not done yet, I would highly recommend you go to the Bakerpedia page, search for staling or starch retargetation, and you'll find a lot of great, fun, free information for you to read and have a better understanding of how that will point you out to what's best to do for your bakery. So a great question. And now for our last question of the day, someone's talking about rope spoilage. And is it a risk when I make natto and bread in the same factory? So natto, for those who are not familiar, it's a Japanese soybean fermented product with lactic acid bacteria. And technically, it's not the same as the rope bacteria, which is a spore forming bacteria, and it's resistant to heat. So it comes from flour, it comes from other areas, but once you have rope, it's very difficult to get rid of unless you do big, thorough cleaning everywhere with sanitizers or vinegar everywhere in your bakery. So to your point, if you have, as you're making natto, you have to understand what bacteria. Technically, you're looking at the lactic acid bacteria fermentation and not rope fermentation. So if you suspect you do have a rope infection or rope within your bakery, take the cautionary measures to stop it right away, because it will, as stated before, it is heat resistant. So no matter when you bake the bread, you'll see it. And usually one of the telling way that you have rope is the bread will keep on liquefying and sometimes making long strains and almost like string-like, like cheese. So, and the smell also. So be careful of the difference, but it's okay to do both natto fermentation and your bread, but I would make sure it's separated and you don't cross-contaminate both, because that will create problems for your bakery. So again, that's it for today. Thank you for watching Tuesday 10 at 10, and I will see you next week, and happy baking to you. Thank you.